Here's what I want you to think about. Three empires, three transitions, each one faster than the last. Spain, 50 years. The Dutch, 40 years. Britain, 30 years. If the pattern continues, and patterns in history do not always continue, America's transition could complete in 20 years or less from the moment the clock started. That moment was 2014. 20 years from 2014 is 2034. 8 years from now. Not a collapse, not a crisis, a transition. The same quiet, undramatic shift in the underlying fundamentals that every empire before America experienced. The military still powerful, the currency still used, the institutions still functioning, but ordinary Americans feeling things getting quietly, persistently harder, just as ordinary Romans did, just as ordinary Britons did. Now I want to hear from you. How many years do you think America has? Some people watching this will say the dollar is irreplaceable and the pattern does not apply. Some will say the transition is already further along than the data shows. Some will say China's problems make the whole timeline irrelevant. All of those are serious arguments. Leave your number in the comments, because this is one of those questions where the answer matters and where what ordinary people think is as important as what the institutions are willing to admit. The next video looks at the three tools. America still has to extend the timeline, what each one costs, how long each one buys, and which one, if any, could actually change the outcome. That video is already up. Link is in the description. So what does the timeline actually look like? If the clock started in 2014 and the 30-year pattern holds, the transition completes around 2044. That is 18 years from now. In those 18 years, based on the historical pattern, here is what to expect. The dollar remains dominant, but its share of global reserves continues declining. From 57% today, probably to somewhere between 40 and 45% by 2034. Still the world's largest reserve currency, but no longer in a class of its own. Interest payments consume an ever larger share of the federal budget. By 2034, the Congressional Budget Office projects interest will be the largest single line item. The compression on infrastructure, defense, and social programs accelerates. Alternative payment infrastructure matures. SIPs, the digital yuan, bilateral currency agreements between major economies, none of them replaces the dollar. But together, they reduce the dollar's share of global trade settlement from roughly 80% today to somewhere closer to 60%. And at some point in that window, nobody can say exactly when. The cost of defending the dollar's current role exceeds the cost of managing a transition to a reduced but sustainable role. Britain hit that point in 1976. America will hit it too. The only question is whether America chooses to hit it on its own terms or waits for the IMF to arrive with conditions. And that question has a political answer, not an economic one. Here is what the historical record says about who pays. It is never the institutions. It is never the policymakers. It is never the financial elite who understood the transition early and positioned themselves accordingly. It is ordinary people. Roman citizens who held savings in silver denarii watched their purchasing power destroyed by debasement over 2 generations. They did not cause the problem. They did not make the decisions. They paid the price. British workers who had done everything right, taken factory jobs, bought modest homes, saved carefully, found by the 1970s that the pound in their pocket bought less every year, that the government programs they had paid into were being cut to service a debt they did not create, that their children would have a harder time than they did. Not because Britain collapsed, because Britain spent 29 years defending a position it could no longer sustain, and the cost of that defense came out of domestic investment, wage growth, and living standards. America is 11 years into its transition if the clock started in 2014. The compression is already visible. Home ownership rates among Americans under 40 at historic lows. Real wage growth lagging behind real costs for 2 consecutive decades. Infrastructure investment declining as a share of GDP while debt service rises. A generation of Americans who have done everything right and are still falling behind. This is not a coincidence. This is what the early stages of the transition feel like from the inside. And history suggests it gets harder before it gets easier. The decision is whether to manage the transition or resist it. Every empire in this position faced the same choice. Britain in 1947 could have made a different decision. Instead of defending sterling at all costs, it could have negotiated an orderly transition, accepted a reduced but stable role in the global financial system, invested the resources spent on currency defense into rebuilding the domestic economy. It did not make that choice. It chose to defend. For 29 years, and the cost of that defense was paid by ordinary British workers. In suppressed wages, in underinvestment, in a manufacturing base that fell so far behind that by the time the IMF arrived in 1976, there was very little left to rebuild. Spain made the same choice a century earlier, defended the silver-backed peso long after the silver mines of Potosi were exhausted, borrowed against future silver production that never came. By the time the defense collapsed, Spain had mortgaged its future to pay for a status it could no longer sustain. America is making the same choice right now. Dollar sanctions that accelerate alternative infrastructure development. Interest rate policy that defends dollar attractiveness at the cost of domestic investment. A foreign policy built around dollar leverage even as that leverage demonstrates diminishing returns. These are not bad decisions made by incompetent people. They are rational decisions made by institutions, optimized for a world that is slowly changing around them. The question is not whether those institutions will eventually adapt. The question is how much the adaptation will cost by the time it happens, and who will pay that cost. Now here is where it gets uncomfortable, because 30 years assumes America follows Britain's trajectory, and there are serious arguments that the transition could be faster. Britain's 30-year lag was partly sustained by one thing America may not have: a single dominant successor that was clearly ready. In 1947, everyone knew the dollar was replacing sterling. The transition had a destination. The world moved from one clearly superior option to another. That clarity accelerated the process. America's situation is different. The yuan is not fully convertible. China's capital markets are not open. The euro has structural problems that have never been resolved. Gold cannot settle modern trade volumes. Digital currencies are not yet trusted at the scale required. There is no single successor ready to replace the dollar. And that creates a paradox. The absence of a clear alternative could extend America's lag significantly beyond 30 years. The world keeps using the dollar not because it trusts America, but because nothing else is ready. Just as the world kept using sterling for 20 years after Britain had clearly lost the economic foundation to justify it. Or, the absence of a clear alternative could accelerate fragmentation. Instead of one currency replacing the dollar, the world moves toward a multi-currency system. Regional blocs settling trade in regional currencies. The dollar becoming one option among several rather than the only option. In that scenario, the transition does not look like Britain's handover to America. It looks like Rome's slow fragmentation into competing regional powers. And Rome's transition took less than 20 years once fragmentation began. Which scenario is more likely? That depends on one decision America has not yet made. Before we get to the timeline, understand what starting the clock actually means. It does not mean the dollar collapses in 2014. It does not mean America stops being powerful. It means the underlying conditions that historically signal the beginning of a reserve currency transition were all present by 2014. What happened in 2014? Russia and China signed a $400 billion gas deal settled outside the dollar. China launched SIPS, its alternative to the SWIFT payment network. Global dollar reserve share began its steepest decline in 2 decades. And for the first time, multiple major economies began actively building infrastructure to conduct trade without dollar settlement. These are not random events. They are the same signals that appeared in the Dutch trading networks in the 1720s when British merchants began bypassing guilder-denominated contracts. They are the same signals that appeared in London in the late 1940s when dollar-denominated trade began replacing sterling settlement across Asia and the Middle East. The signal is not a collapse. The signal is construction. When the world starts building the infrastructure to operate without your currency, the clock has started, not because your currency is failing today, because the alternative is being built for the day it does. By 2014, the construction was underway. And if the historical pattern holds, 30 years from 2014 is 2044. That is the timeline history suggests, not a prediction, a pattern, but a pattern that has repeated 3 times without exception. Here is a question nobody in Washington wants to answer. How long does an empire last after it loses reserve currency status? Not how long until the collapse. Not how long until the crisis. How long until the world simply stops needing you the way it once did? Because history has already answered this question. And the answer is more precise than most people realize. Spain held the world's dominant currency from roughly 1550 to 1650, after silver from the Americas stopped flowing and the economy underneath the currency collapsed. Spain took approximately 50 years to complete the transition to a secondary power. The Dutch guilder dominated global trade from the 1630s to the 1720s. After Britain overtook Dutch economic output and the tulip mania exposed the fragility underneath, the Netherlands took approximately 40 years to complete its transition. Britain held reserve currency status from the mid-1800s until 1944. After America overtook British economic output in 1872, after 2 world wars consumed British wealth and overseas assets, the full transition from dominant to secondary power took approximately 30 years, from 1947 to 1976. The pattern is not random. Each transition took less time than the one before it. 50 years, 40 years, 30 years. And America's clock started in 2014. Here is what that means for you.